And welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Rusty, and this is me channel where I talk about me favorite movies, mostly horror, and me favorite music, mostly metal. And yeah, uh, now I want to talk about a nice little independent. It doesn't really look low budget. I mean, I didn't see anything low budget about it. Zombie movies don't really need a lot of budget. Um, So, yeah, this is a nice little indie entry into my Zombie Fest collection, and it's called Don't Grow Up. I ended up liking this so much. The DVD was pretty cheap, um, which is the way I'll do a blind buy. And I liked it so much that I ordered the Blu-ray last night after watching this. When I went and found out that you could get the Blu-ray DVD combo for, I think it was $7.99. And yeah, so I went and got the Blu-ray to upgrade this. That's how much I liked it. Now, Don't Grow Up was released in 2015. It's rated R. It's not super long, and I don't like short movies, but it's only an hour and 21 minutes, so that kind of irritated me a little bit because it could have had more of the goodness. But it stars Fergus Riordan, Madeleine Kelly, and McKell David. It was directed by Thierry and written by Marie Garel-Weiss. Weiss. Um, but yeah. Now, the basic premise of this movie, which is why I liked it so much, you have a group of foster care kids in a foster care facility. They range in age from 15 to 18. May is one day. Her birthday is the next day. She will turn 18. The rest are 15 through 18. So, um, Bastion is I guess you would call him the leader or the main one of this group. But there's only about five of them, six of them. So, yeah, six of them. Um, so they wake up in this facility. Most of the other people have gone on holiday, whereas they remained with one superintendent who was watching them. He goes off into town. Now, uh, that night, one of the boys is woken up. It was Bastion, yeah. He wakes up and looks out the window and sees this guy tearing out of the car going to town. Um, but he doesn't come back, and they wake up the next day. They're completely alone, so they take full advantage of it, partying, going through, you know, the records. They're just cut loose in this place all by themselves. And they get into liquor, they find weed, they do everything you would expect a bunch of juvenile delinquents to do if left completely unsupervised in a foster care facility. So we get to sort of learn who these people are: May and Pearl and Sean, and Thomas and Liam and Bastion. I didn't even have to look at notes. So um, they get bored though after 2 days. They get bored. They decide to go into town themselves. Well, we're not supposed to leave here, right? What can anybody fucking do? There's nobody there. So they leave and go into the neighboring town where everything looks a little weird. Everything looks a little post apocalyptic, like some shit has went on. And they, of course, remember these are juvenile delinquents. So they, of course, walk into this open store and they're grabbing beer. They're looking through the cash register. They're seeing, they kind of all split up as well. Bastion hears a noise and goes into an apartment complex. May is having a little drama, so she goes off by herself. And it's sort of like they all find out what's going on about the same time. Bastion keeps following this noise where he finds a little girl in the arms of what looks like a dead woman, who then opens her eyes and you can tell that she is a zombie, or this movie's version of a zombie. And that was really rough because Bastion, he can't really get into the door because it's blocked. So he's like reaching through it going, come to me, I can get you to safety. And that wakes up the little girl's mother, who has turned, who promptly right in front of you kills her, kills the little girl. Ugly too. Like, and and Bastion is like screaming, and she is like she just violently, I'm trying to think of how to say it, she like violently breaks her back and breaks her neck of this little 8-year-old child. So that was pretty rough. And while this is happening, May hears a noise and starts walking down into the tube station, and my first words at the screen was, don't do that. Are you fucking high? What are you doing? And she kind of peeks under there and looks down there, and she can see Anthony. That was their caretaker, the supervisor at the thing. So she walks up to him, and he turns around and guts her with like this big piece of glass and punches her and stuff like that. Now, this is simultaneously happening when Bastion was watching that woman kill that kid. Also, simultaneously, you see Liam and Sean in the store, and Thomas is out there on the phone getting his messages, and it's his dad on the phone going, we're trying to get over there, but they won't let us leave the mainland. Something's going on. Something's happening. Of course, it's the zombie apocalypse. So some guy comes around the corner, and this kind of upset me because Thomas was really nice. He comes around and he brutally murders that boy. He like beats him to death with a pipe and stuff like that. Liam and Sean are witnessing this. They find a gun underneath the counter at the store, and this is all taking place in the Canary Islands, in case you wanted to know. That's where this is set. So, the creature or the guy comes in and starts trying to attack them. They end up killing him. So all three of these events took place simultaneously, and you got to see it, and that's how we learn, what went on. So they all run, now they all get back together at this little boy drives up. What's his name? Henry? Something? He drives up in an SUV Bronco thing. They all jump in it. May has got this big gash across her stomach. Pearl, Bastion, Liam, and Sean, they're left. So we're down to 5 because Thomas was beat to death. And now you have this new little kid. So they managed to get out of the city, and they're heading down this isolated road when they hit a spike chain that the cops put across the road to stop cars. So they hit that, and this cop tries to kill them, but the little boy, the little Henry boy, he's a little psycho. I guess he witnessed some shit. So he ends up shooting the cop, and then he points the gun at them, and he points at Sean, and he says he's like them. And Sean's like, what the fuck? Now, you did see a little blood coming out of Sean's ear, but you didn't know what that meant yet. So, um, they all get back into the Bronco. That little Henry boy, he takes off and runs through the woods. And so they go to this isolated house. They get in there, and then, they try to help May, and they start trying to figure things out. They find a dead body in the basement. It was a man who committed suicide, and they found a note on him where he was writing to his daughter that he's locked himself in the basement because he's changing, and to run and to not, go around any adults. And we start learning what's going on. And this is, I guess, where I can tell you the premise. This virus, this thing that has happened, this contagion, what it's done is that it's turned all the adults into zombies. Or, this movie's version of a zombie. Infected. But not kids. Now, we all know that kids age at different, they mature. So whatever triggers it, it's triggered sometime, probably after 16 or something. I don't really know what it's attached to. They don't go into that. But I loved that premise because unlike other zombie movies, and this is what I liked about this one, unlike other zombie movies, it's not a matter of avoid infected people because the world is infected. All the adults are gone, or they've all been turned. But this is attached to maturation. It's attached to becoming an adult. That's not something you can stop. You can't avoid that. You can't, you know what I mean? Like in other zombie movies, it's a virus that you can catch, or it's something that can be spread, like in 28 Days Later. But in this one, you don't know when it's going to happen, but you do know it will happen. So you get to see a lot of melodrama between these kids these kids who have figured this out. What are they going to do? How do they deal with this knowledge? Because they have the questions you would have. Well, what is an adult then? Because May is 18. Because the day has changed. So it's actually her birthday. So May is 18 and she hasn't changed. Yet right there in the house. And it was one of the most creepy fucking scenes that I've ever seen in a horror movie. Is Sean is sitting at the couch watching her, right? Bastian and Pearl are upstairs, Liam's in the kitchen. And she wakes up, and the look on that boy's face that he is giving her, just like, I didn't stop the movie, but I had this urge to stop the movie. Because I was just like, ooh, man, I don't know, man. That's like giving me a panic attack. Because, I mean, the look on his face was, it was fucked up. And he ends up grabbing her, dragging her outside, and taking her to the Bronco. He's changing. He's turning. And Bastian sees him out the window, so they all come running. And they end up getting to the Bronco right as he gets through killing May. Violently killing her. And then you can see him through the window asking Liam to shoot him. Shoot me. And but Liam, they were best friends, So Liam couldn't do it, and Bastian ended up grabbing the gun from him and shooting him. And that brought more questions, because Sean was younger. Like, this is one of the points that they made. May was 18, and she hadn't changed. Sean was younger than Bastian. Sean turned, but Bastian had not. And Liam and Sean were the same age, and he had not. And Pearl was the youngest, at 15. So, what is it? That's a question that the movie asks you. What is it? Because they ask each other, what does becoming an adult mean? Is it having sex? Because they tried to think of that, and it's like, well, no, because Pearl, but Pearl's like not a virgin, and she hasn't changed. May was not a virgin. Liam was not a virgin. Bastian and Sean were both virgins. But Sean changed, Bastian didn't. So it's not sex. It's not a specific age, because May was the oldest and she didn't change. Of course, she didn't get the chance after Sean killed her ass. But Bastian is older than Sean, and Sean changed and is the same age as Liam, but he didn't change. So what is it? It's not your age. So it's got to be some kind of chemical, something in you, because we all know that people mature at different ages. We know that the brain, for instance, does not stop developing until you're 25, 26 years old. So, what is an adult? So it was interesting to listen to these juvenile delinquents try to science the hell out of this thing to figure out what's going on. Now, of course, things continue to happen. They all leave. May is dead now. Sean is dead now. So there's nothing but Liam and Pearl and Bastian. They end up like, well, we can, he tells them that his dad's got a boat, but he makes it out to be like, kid's a lie. So he makes it out to be like he comes from a rich household, his dad's got a yacht and stuff like that. They're like, oh, you're full of shit. Of course you are. But they think, well, if we can get to that boat, right? So they're going to try that. Now, that little shit, Henry, you don't see that coming, because Pearl and Liam and Bastian are out there in the middle of this area, and all of a sudden Liam is just blown the hell away. You did not see that coming. Makes you jump. And that fucking little Henry dude comes running around the corner, and he's like out to kill them, He's about 9? And he's like, oh no, y'all are too close to, you may not be grown-ups, but you're close enough for me to get rid of. So obviously that kid's been through some shit, because he wants anybody over the age of 10 dead. So that was sad, because Liam's gone now. However, I hated him. I mean, I literally hated Liam, so I really wasn't sad to see him go. He was actually the only asshole out of the delinquents, was him. So Pearl and Bastian, they try to continue the plan, which is to get to Liam, because the one good thing Liam did before he died there on the ground after Henry shot him was give them the address they had taken out of his folder, out of his file, his dad's address. So he gave them to that as he died on the ground. So they know where to try to go. They end up finally getting to that town, and it is a zombie apocalypse from hell. It's fires everywhere, zombified adults killing anything they can get their hands on, while at the same time little roaming bands of juveniles are killing the adults for their own protection, of course, not knowing who to shoot and who not to shoot, because, like I said, Henry does have that part right, and that is, if you're over 10, who knows when you're going to change. So you have these bands of youth that were done. They managed to get through that. They do end up managing to find the father's house, but they don't find a boat. But then they find a picture and realize the reason they can't find the boat is because Liam lied. It's not a yacht or anything. It's just a little outboard boat. So they go on down the beach a little bit, manage to find it. And right before that happens, though, while they were back at the thing, Bastian is bent over, looking through pictures because he's like, oh my God, he lied. There's no boat here. And all of a sudden, blood hits the floor, and Bastian stands up, and there's blood coming out his ear, which is the first sign, as we learned, that the first sign that you're going to change soon is that you bleed from your ear. So you're like, oh man, no. Well, that sucks. So he's gonna change. But, so him and Pearl, they like hug and everything because they know what that means. So they go down and they do manage to find the dad's boat, and he throws Pearl and this little, I don't know, 7-year-old little girl that they had found. They throw them onto the boat. He throws them onto the boat, and then before she can do anything about it, he pushes the boat out into the waves, and she starts yelling, no, 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 and he's like, you have to go. He knows he's going to become this creature. Now, one of the little gang that you had seen running around in town, killing, he had shot at them, but he had not shot Bastian when he had the chance. But he's standing up there on the beach, and Bastian is watching them go out into the water. And all of a sudden, he takes aim with a rifle and he blows Bastian away. And you're like, fuck you, man. But wait, no. Okay, unfuck you. Because you really had no choice. And that's where the movie ends. Bastian is dead on the beach, and the girl's running. The girl and the little girl get away, and they're sailing towards the mainland. So, did it give you all the answers? No. You're left wondering, well, what do they think they're going to find on the mainland? I mean, this is just it's just one of the Canary Islands. It's not like, the mainland would be Spain then. So it's not like there's anything on that island. This is worldwide. So, I don't know. It really left it open for a sequel, which I wish that they would do, to give us more information about that. But like I said, it's not your typical zombie movie. It's got some very, very brutal and disgusting kills, but unlike other zombies, this is a little different. It's not action all the time. There's melodrama as these kids try to figure out what to do. I found it very refreshing. I mean, could there have been more gore? I guess, but I don't really think any was needed. More story was needed. Like I said, it's only an hour and 21 minutes. This would have been a lot better if it was an hour and 45 minutes, and they could have fleshed out some of the reasoning behind what was going on, so it kind of leaves you with questions about that. But I highly enjoyed it. I think it was something new, something a little different, and yet still an absolute excellent zombie movie with zombie kills in it. Because whatever they turned into, they were definitely evil crazy. You know, the mother killing her daughter. That was a rough scene. So yeah, it's got good kills. It's a good story. I really like it as an addition to the zombie genre, because it isn't typical, while at the same time having some really good traditional zombie tropes. You know, great zombie kills, acceptable gore, but you really get to like these characters. And seeing Sean turn really, made me sad. Seeing Bastion turn made me sad. I hated Liam, so I didn't give a fuck when he got shot. Um, but everybody else, May didn't deserve it. Um, it was really good. It was a really good movie. It was a good zombie movie. Don't let anybody tell you differently. I liked it. Don't Grow Up, 2015. Great little zombie genre. Good interest, good entry into my zombie fest. And I will see you in the next one. Don't Grow Up. If you've seen it, let me know. If you haven't, hit eBay and grab that bitch. It's really good. It's really nice little movie. Love you, miss you, bye. Always remember, never forget, you are a really excellent person. See there? Look at yourself. But don't let anybody tell you different. Being unique is a wonderful thing. And yeah, never lose it. So I will see you in the next one. Love you. Miss you. Bye-bye. Thanks for stopping by. And don't grow up.